Right, Steve, back to doing our weekly interviews. As we always like to update the Dartford fans, as we always have done since you've been manager of the football club. Let's start with the two signings that we announced earlier this week in Adi Aziz and Danny Leonard. Tell the supporters about those two boys.
Yeah, an insight into those really. Adi, I tried to sign last year, no secret there. Pre-season, he was due to play for us against Dover, and then the night before he ended up playing for, going to Dover and playing against us. I understood his reasoning. He'd just come out of, pro football and played 170 league games, and he wanted to stay full time in the national division. And that was his reasoning, which was fair enough. I've got no problem with them kind of reasoning. So people want to better themselves or they want to play in levels above. It didn't quite work out, as in they played 10 games and stopped their season or wherever it was, and he's sort of been twisting his fingers ever since. So we got in touch quite early. Agent, I know him very well, good lad, and we got a deal done very quickly. It's going to bring something different to what we got forward wise. And he's quick, he's powerful, we get him behind the back of people, and he's a strong boy. So he comes with a wealth of experience as well, and he's still only 26, 27. So for me, it's a very, very good signing for the level that we're at, and I expect him to score a decent amount of goals.
Yeah, not a lot of people score in front of 50,000 at Celtic Park today, so he must have something about him, and he scored bundles of goals in the Football League as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're lucky to have he's what I call a Football League player. He hasn't played 1 or 2 games, he's played 170 games, so for me it's a great signing. He's local, he's 20 minutes away. That's another thing as well. He's 20 minutes away, and I think the fans will, it'll end up being a fan's favourite, definitely.
And obviously moving on to Danny Leonard, I mean, when we announced it went all over social media, and we had quite a fair few comments that he's a real diamond, this kid, a kind of non-league diamond. Is that the way you see him as well?
To be fair, Danny, it's amazing because I went to an FA Cup game last year. I was indoors one night and I just see Eastbourne were playing Sheppey. Obviously wasn't allowed no fans in, but I've got connections obviously at Eastbourne, and I just said, do you mind if I come over and watch a game? So I thought, I'd heard a little bit about Sheppey, and I thought they're quite financially backed and they want to try and go through the pyramid, etc, etc. I thought, let me just have a little wander over there and have a look. And I felt on the night Eastbourne ended up winning and getting through, but they didn't deserve it. I mean, Sheppey deserved to win the game hands down.
Yeah.
And I think Eastbourne scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. It changed the whole complex of the game. But the 2 wingers that night, left winger and a right winger, were good players. But the right winger, especially, which was Danny, absolutely destroyed the left back, who is a very good player, by the way. The left back, he's a pro on loan from a professional club, and I watched him throughout the season, the Eastbourne left back, and I thought he was a decent player. To see what Danny did to him in the first half I thought, wow, it's probably one of the best halves of wing play I'd seen for years and years and years. So from that point, the ears pricked up. We made a little inquiry then. It was on contract. We left it at that, and then I just sort of kept an eye throughout the season. And then when it come to obviously their season ending, they went into this lockdown tournament with like Sheppey, Rochester, Chatham, Punjab, and sort of different sides. And knowing what I'm like, I like to get out to games and all that. It was the only set of games, and there was sort of big crowds at these games, 600, 700, 500, and so I thought, nice days, I'll go and watch the football. And then I watched Sheppey probably 4 times, 5 times, and watched Danny every single time, and every single time he was an absolute threat. Scored goals, made goals, dynamic, as quick as you like. And it just brought back what I'd seen in him playing against a side that ended up 3rd in our division. So I'd like to think I'm quite good at spotting players, and I've spotted a load over the years and they've gone on, etc, etc. So I looked at him and I just thought there's a lot there, a lot to work with. And then the big game when they played, Chatham played Sheppey, which are the 2 best teams in that division who will win that league. The 4-4 draw was one of the best games I'd seen for a long time. As soon as he got the ball, there was like 3 or 4 around him to stop him playing. That's when you know you've got something a little bit special on your hands. and I think he's got the capabilities of going beyond these levels, in my opinion. So one step at a time. He's scored a lot of goals the league below. I think maybe 30-40 goals in the 2 seasons there. So I believe he can step up to this level without any shadow of doubt, and I think he's got capabilities of going beyond. But you know, it's something I looked at for a long time, and I just thought I'm so happy to get him over the line.
Obviously, it's well known through kind of our social media that the fans have been delighted with the business that you've done this summer. Yeah, give us a little update where exactly you think right now the squad is at, and about further additions.
We're more or less 99.9 there. That's sort of really where I'm at. Cameron, even though Cameron Brodie's on our list of signed players, we give Cameron a 2-year deal, because there's a lot of development left in Cameron, and we've seen progression in him, and I really like him and I really like working with him. So what we've done with Cameron this year, we sent him out on loan to Sittingbourne, and the year before he went to Sittingbourne. This year he went to Tilbury. They were top of their division before it all got stopped. He done really well there. So we just progressed him to the next level now, and he's gone to Cray on loan for the season, which is important, because for me it's about development. These young lads are not ready at 18, 19, but what we're going to do is identify what they've got, and keep them within what we do. You know, I've recently watched 2 of the games, the youngs, the first years and the third years, and you know, it's 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them that I felt got real potential. So what we've done, me and Tony sat down and put them, had a chat about those individuals, so they're becoming in pre-season with us to train with the first team, get them involved with the first team, some of the first team games, and then there's a progression with them. We want to keep them under our wing, nurture them, because to get an 18-year-old playing in our first team in the Conference South is very, very difficult. It's not done, but they've got to realise that they buy into what we're doing as well, and they buy into the programme, and the programme would be a steady progression. So Cameron goes out this year, and then Cameron's got to be ready for us next year. So that's a great progression. The same with the youngsters that we've seen, the 18-year-olds, come in with us, train with us, progress with us. We send them out to Ryman level, we keep an eye on them, we watch their games, and then when it's time to come bring them back with us, get involved in some of the cup games, etc. That's their progression and that's their path, and we've identified probably 5 or 6 of them that we feel that have got potential to do that. So they're becoming in pre-season, which is important, that they see that there is a chance for them to get involved with us, but we want to control where they go, because the right club, the right environment, they need to play. They can't just go and make numbers up. So we'll be using our contacts to make sure that happens. So yeah.
Yeah, we had when we put out that you were doing a live interview today. Yeah, that we had a fair few amount of questions coming for you.
Yeah, go on.
A lot of talk has been around one certain individual that spent last year with us, and he was brilliant, which was Jacob Buckley-Achapong. Yeah, can you give an update on Jacob's situation?
Yeah, Jacob, we've sat down, we spoke over phone, spoke over text. I understand where Jacob's coming from. His burning ambition is to play back in the Football League. He's desperate to do that. You know, I wanted him to stay. Obviously, if he was staying in these levels, he would stay with us all day long. But I can't stop someone trying to better themselves and go into the Football League. So his heart is set on that, whether that be here or anywhere else abroad or whatever. His heart is set on that. So for me, I've said to him, you crack on, you do what you've got to do, you try and make those levels if you can make them. If you can't, then we'll always have another conversation. I think that's fair. I think he knows where he's at, I know where I'm at. We've waited for him, but when you've got one of your players saying, Gaffer, I want to play in the Football League, I'm still young, I want to trial and see if I can make that happen, you can only say this, you know, that's down to you. It's your decision to do that. So, you know, I wish him the best. I hope he gets a Football League move. If he doesn't, I'm sure there's going to be another conversation to be had.
One of the individuals as well that last year was with us was Ricky Modest. What's the update on Ricky?
No, Ricky's moved on. You know, he's probably gutted that he never had the opportunity to show the fans and what he could do. He was injured near enough this whole time here, which I'm gutted for as well, because we got on well and we had a good rapport, but we just never got him on the pitch. He had a hairline fracture of his kneecap quite early, and it kept him out. So yeah, gutted that, you know, we never got to see the best of Ricky, because I'm sure he would have been an asset to the football club, but he's moved on.
Yeah, you've added one of the fans' questions as well is that you've obviously added one fullback this summer in Bagasan Graham. Is there any more fullbacks in the pipeline?
Yeah, there will be. Maybe one. We feel Jordan Winter can play at right back, Bagasan can play at left back if we want to go that route. But there will be definitely a fullback coming in, without a shadow of doubt. There will be one coming in. We're just waiting for the right moment and the right person to come along. It's probably going to come from a pro club with the links I've got. So yeah, there will be one coming in. But like I say, I'm really content with what we got going forward.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, one fan has put a question to us about being tipped for promotion this year. Now, obviously, since you've been here, it's always kind of been one game at a time, see where you end up, see where it takes you and things like that, and you don't really like the talk of promotion. But one fan was saying about promotion this year, and if we didn't get it, it wouldn't be a good season. Yeah, what do you make of it?
Well, I think that fella must have fallen out the Rose and Crown or something when he said it, because this league is a tough league, a real tough league, and you know, I don't think we could have done more in it in our time we've been here. Losing in obviously the playoff finals on pens and being top of it for most of it, part of it, the 20 games this year. We could have done no more, but just to say things like that, I think it's crazy, because when you look at the other teams in the division, there's a lot of teams in this division spending a lot of money. Also, they've signed well. A lot of clubs have signed well. You know, for me, in my experience of this level, which is vast, I've never seen so many clubs building teams with players that are beyond this level. You know, Dorking, you know, for me, when I talk about the best players in the league, I don't mention my own. I'm not talking about my own players. When I look at other teams in the division, you know, for me, Dorking have got the best number 9 in the division in Pryor. You know, they've just, in my opinion, again, they've just signed Josh Taylor. Is probably was the best midfield player in this division. In my opinion, not including my own players, but just what I've seen out there. And then you look at Havant, you know, signed James Roberts. Centre half from Oxford City again, you know, right back Josh Pasley from Dover. They're all players, good players, and above the level. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's signing players that are more than capable playing the next level and beyond. They're not the only clubs, you know. Bath are signing well now. Bath has just signed 3 or 4, and then they've just got Tom Smith on another contract. So everybody, you know, teams that were pulled out early for whatever the reasons were this year down the bottom, you're going to see them having a go. You know, Hungerford have secured Ryan Seeger again for another 2 years. So I can mention, sorry if I not mention other teams, you know, Chelmsford, Charlie, you know, Charlie's going to guarantee them 15 goals this year probably. So they're all having a go, all of them. So it's a division that you've got no divine right to win. I would never turn around and say to anybody, we're going to win the division. I'd be disappointed if we don't get in the playoffs, 100% would I. That's everybody's aim in the dressing room. And privately, them boys would be thinking a lot more. A few of the signings that we've signed already said promotion, that's it.
Yep.
You know, that's our target, it's everybody's target. You speak to whatever manager you speak to within this division, you know, even Hampton I didn't mention there, always do well, always do. St Albans, unbeaten near enough the whole of their little campaign. So you can go on and on and on. Hungerford had a season like no other.
Yeah.
Can they recapture that again this year? You know, Eastbourne had another great season like no other. So I can go on and on and on. So this league we're signing good. We're signing really good, and we had to, because other people, the league moves on. So for a comment like that, I'll take with tongue in cheek, and maybe he had a skinful when he said it. But for me, it's we're one of the teams that have got the capabilities. That's all I would say.
You mentioned just there that we have signed extremely well this summer, which I think in everybody's opinion so far it's been a wonderful summer for Dartford, and I'm sure you're delighted as well with the signings that have come through the door. What's also important is that you've kept a great core of those of the squad that have done so well for you since you've been here. One of the fans did say about if you'd avoid, as such, the constant revolving of the door that we've potentially seen over the last couple of years. What do you say to that?
All I would say to that fan is, when I first came in, I inherited a team that was fifth from bottom, joint fifth from bottom, which were going the wrong way, and I had to change obviously things then, and bring in some quality, extra quality, which I did. I brought in maybe about 6 players at that time, and then I loaned a few throughout the season, like Heidi, Jacob and things like that. I brought in throughout the season. If I didn't bring those players in and release players, because you've got to balance books, then we could have been seriously looking at the trap door. But obviously there was no relegation at that time, we didn't know that, but there was looking at the trap door. So my first full season, which would have been this season just gone, I'm getting mixed up with the COVID stuff and that, was I signed my own side, but with at least 11 players that were the mainstay of who did well for me. So I've already got that core base. So I built my own side this year, just gone, and in our short period of time we were the top of the league, most of it. Ended up sort of second with Dorking going past, but so we ain't done something too bad. So what's happening in this division, like I've just explained, this year, everybody is signing good. I'm impressed by a lot of people's signings. So if you stick with what you got, and certain areas didn't work last year, and we know that, and that's why I've had to make changes, we would be left behind. And nothing stands still. You have to keep moving. And I'm one for, if better players become along, I will introduce those better players. And I feel that, and this is no way disrespectful to any player that's been and gone, but it doesn't mean because it hasn't quite worked out in one club, it's not going to work out at another club. It will work out at another club, because you look through this division, there's partnerships forming. You know, Elliot, for example, had an unbelievable first year with me, incredible. You know, it was one-man crusade at times. Second year scored 1 goal in 15 games. So, but that doesn't mean Elliot can't go and do it at Ebbsfleet. Him and Bingham up front for Ebbsfleet is a handful. If that Elliot brings his A game to Ebbsfleet, he's a handful for anybody in this division. Jack Barham going to Maidstone. Jack scored 2 goals in 15 games. I mean, he's a bad player, he's a good player. He could go to Maidstone, and Rendell and him up front could have a great partnership. Everybody has got partnerships, you know, Pryor and Rutherford at Dorking, and I just felt that we needed to completely change our front line. So players are going to come and go. That's what happens in these levels. Every single team within these divisions will be signing between 5 and 10 players each team. Just go through the list, you'll see it, you know, and it's a fact. And I don't want to be left behind. So for me, if I can, my job is to get results on the pitch, to try and get promotion if we can, and if that means getting better players than what I feel we had, or they can improve us, that's what's going to happen. And I've kept the core of the team. I think we kept 11 players, and we signed 2 players that were in that team that got us all the way to the playoff final. So 13 players are what I would say existing they know each other, and I've signed 7 new ones, if that makes sense. So that's always going to happen. Dorking were top of it for most of this. They've signed 4 plus another kid from Ryman level, so 5 signings they've had. Havant are going to be into the 10 signings. Bath are going to be into the 10 signings. So you can go across the board. There's people going to have signed as many as us, and that's what sort of kind of happens in these levels.
Perfect. Steve, wonderful way to wrap it off, and yeah, we'll catch up with you very, very soon.
Cheers.